Happy New Year 2018. What I've just realised is, like every other year, I'm 26 years sober this year. I'm 27 this year. But what I realised is there's a lot of people who are still struggling, trying to stop drinking. And I'm going to give you four tips on how you might be able to stop drinking in 2018. Tip 1, get honest. And you've probably heard this before, and you probably think you are honest, but honesty in relation to addiction is something quite different. Denial is one of the main presenting features of addiction, not to be confused with lying or dishonesty. Denial is an unconscious act. We don't even know we're doing it. We tell ourselves that things are not as bad as they appear to be. We can say it's not as bad as it appears to be when we're in prison, when we're losing jobs, when we're losing relationships, when we're sleeping in the streets. It's not that bad. We can say it when we're yellow, our livers are distended, we look pregnant, and we're at the point of death. It's not that bad. So the denial or the honesty that I'm talking about is getting honest about the impact your drinking is having on you and your family and your ability to control it. So if you can have a few drinks and you can predict quite successfully your behaviour, so you know that you're going to be an amiable, lovely drunk and everyone feels that you're the life and soul of the party, continue. What's up with that? If you can't, if you are sometimes, once in a while, a belligerent, pain in the arse, an aggressive drunk, someone who insists on telling people the truth, a dishonest drunk, someone who upsets others. If after a couple of drinks you can't stop, you probably have a problem with alcohol, and you can minimise it as much as you like, but it probably won't get any better. And you may be the last person to realise it. Probably your family, friends and everyone around you have been saying it for a long time, that you need to do something about your drinking. And it might be 2018 that you do it. So step 1 or tip 1, get very, very honest about the impact your drinking is having on yourself and on other people. And that leads us to step 2 or tip 2. Tip 2 is commit to do something about it. It's alright admitting you've got a problem or accepting you've got a problem, but committing to take action to do something about it is something completely different. And we can commit on day 1, but on day 2, 3 and 4 that commitment will wane, I'll guarantee you. I used to work in a rehab, and I used to quite often have the more recalcitrant patients come into my office, and usually it was day 2 or 3, but they were having doubts about the seriousness of their problem. Maybe they weren't as bad as everyone was making out. Maybe they could control it, and maybe they didn't have to go through this process. So they'd come in and I'd ask them what they were there for, and they'd tell me that they were there because their lives were chaotic and they had no control of their actions or behaviours once they started drinking, and they couldn't stop and they were totally out of control. And I'd say, do you want to stop? And they'd say yes. And so often you get tears, but I'd ask them what lengths would they prepared to go to get sober and stay sober. And invariably they would reply they would do anything. And I would encourage anyone, that is the right answer, I would encourage anyone to write that down. If you're thinking about stopping drinking today and you get honest about your drinking and the impact it's having, commit, write it down, because that's what you have to be prepared to do to stop drinking anything. And it has to be a commitment that is renewed on a daily basis, because day 2 you'll be thinking it wasn't that bad, day 3 there's 10 times more people who drink more than you. It was just a blip, a little phase, and you'll be okay with a couple of drinks. On a daily basis, write down. In the olden days there used to be temperance societies, and they used to work. People used to sign the pledge, and they used to sign the pledge and they used to commit to a life of abstinence. And they used to, the pledge, looking at a pledge or looking at just one word, anything written on a piece of paper. If you write anything on a piece of paper, and when you fancy a drink or in the morning you look at that piece of paper and it says anything on it, it'll probably remind you of how you felt at the time you made that commitment. And when you make that commitment, you could put a lie detector on you. You could go on Jeremy Kyle and say, do you really want to stop drinking? And you would flatline, because you're telling the truth. But like myself and like other alkies, 2 days later you'll be face down in your own vomit, I'm afraid. But if you're reminded of that commitment, it helps. And if you commit on a daily basis to make that your priority, because you need to, and this is a tip, I'm giving it you for nothing, but commit on a daily basis and maybe write it down and renew that oath or commitment every single day, or in the early days more than sort of once a day. Every time you feel like a drink, remember your commitment or your oath to stop drinking. So, tip 3, don't do it on your own. It amazes me the amount of times I've seen people fail countlessly, year after year, trying to sort this problem out on their own. They know they've got a problem. They've done 12 detoxes, and I ask them what they're going to do differently this time, and they'll come up with some bizarre plan. But none of the plans will include getting help from people who've actually stopped. The reality is, if you suffer from any condition, or if you want to do anything, it's easier in the company of others. If you want to start a business, if you want to train for a marathon, if you want to do anything, it's easier with the shared will and the motivation of other people, because willpower of addicts and alcoholics is limited, not good. So in any town, in any country probably nowadays, but in the UK, there will be at least a dozen alkies who have stopped drinking, and for some considerable time. So go find them. There's self-help groups all over the country. Go find them and go and ask them what they did, how have they done it, and spend time with them. Recovery is contagious. I will guarantee, if you spend time with people who have managed to stop drinking, it's vicariously, you will stop drinking. You will unconsciously, without thinking, pick up tips on how to stop drinking. So if you really committed, go and get some help, and I will guarantee that will work. If you spend time with people, you commit on a daily basis, and you get really honest, you will get honest in near enough every other area of your life. So you will improve, your life will improve. You will be able to manage situations, relationships that used to cause you all sorts of problems. And you will grow up, you will face life on life's terms, and you will start to kick the arse out of it. That's the time that the secret comes in. The tip 4 will maintain your health, wealth, happiness, and increase your wisdom for the rest of your life. And it's not really that difficult. The 4th tip is to repeat the first 3 every day, and maybe help another person. And you don't have to be Mother Teresa. You don't have to be going into A&Es and going into prisons and going all over the show and getting people. There will people who will seek you out, and they will say, can you help me? I'm clueless. I don't know why I do this. And they will find you, but give them a bit of time. Take them for a brew. Just spend a little time with someone else and help them. And you know what? It's no hardship. They will become long-lasting friends, and they will. It will be sort of what you need, because the condition of alcoholism has been described as self-obsession, and in order to get out or be cured of this condition, we need to get out of self, and we need to start thinking about other people. And basically there's plenty of people, unfortunately the UK is very poorly served with services for people with addiction problems, and you may be able to help one day, but first get yourself honest and find other people who can help you and commit. So there we are, 4 tips on how to stay sober in 2018. Have a very healthy, wealthy and sober 2018, and I wish you all well.